Are chicken pot pies my brand? Let's think it out. No. Hello and welcome to Outside the Fox, where we explore what's happening online and why it matters. I'm Kim Horcher.
My name's Ajay Patel, and it is so good to be back.
Yes, in the words of the Backstreet Boys, oh my God, we're back again.
Absolutely. And I have a very important question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think if I found your Instagram or your old MySpace, maybe a little, another profile or two, do you think that would portray the same identity that you kind of give off in person?
Well, MySpace was like 2009, so that's going to be a different person inherently.
Okay.
But no, because I think I'm very much the same person across my profiles.
Yeah, I feel like I have kind of kept maybe one piece back, maybe a little bit of personal life back, but I'm slowly trying to merge the two, like the work identity, people that kind of things that people see on my Instagram versus, okay, am I comfortable with coworkers seeing this? I think that's how I've kind of had my scale and gauge going forward. That's a fun part about kind of having your job also be your online presence. So you can align that more versus like sometimes when I'm in job interviews and someone's like, would you feel comfortable showing me, like your online presence? And sometimes I'm so just kind of terrified where it's like, I don't want you to think that identity will clash with the identity that I could bring to this job.
Well, I don't know that I feel that way about what I do, but what you and I do is so different.
And that's what we're here to talk about. So Kim, how do you decide what to share online and what not to share online?
I try to think about, is this going to be interesting to other people who aren't me? Because sometimes I'll cook something and I'll be like, this is the most amazing chicken pot pie ever, but it's not. It's not beautiful, and people don't know me for cooking. So I might decide, you know what, I'll stay more in line of the me that's there as opposed to the boring parts of my life.
Do you feel like that's always kind of been your kind of approach to it?
Absolutely not.
So you used to post the pot pie?
Do you ever go back and look at your memories on Facebook?
All the time.
Because they are embarrassing.
Sometimes one of my favorite activities is to go all the way down to the first times I was posting on Instagram and seeing the things that I was posting there. And now it's become like, if it's not tailored, if it's not, 4K, an amazing picture or a big milestone in life, it almost feels weird to share. Like you're saying, right? Like, oh, I made this amazing chicken pot pie and I want to share it with everyone. But is it really the standard that people are looking for? Are chicken pot
pies my brand? Let's think it out. No.
But you made it, right? So sometimes that's what I think about when sometimes I like to dabble in cooking. I like to make a good chicken parm.
Sure, we both love chicken.
And I would love to.
Everyone loves chicken, but not vegetarians. Anyway, yeah?
So sometimes I think about, oh, okay, I really want to share this with people, but I don't want people to think I'm trying to be this, food influencer, cooking person. But at the same time, it's like, why should I let that kind of stop me from posting what I want to post?
Do you feel self-conscious about it?
100%. I feel like Instagram now, for me personally, has turned into, I only see these big milestones. I only see either someone's graduation, you get proposed to, you have some type of gender reveal. There's never just like, oh, this is what I did this weekend with this person.
You can do a photo dump and do that.
I think that's what I've been seeing more.
Yeah.
Where someone's just like, oh, hey, this is just the things that have been happening this month. Yeah. Do you do that?
No. I usually post those to my stories. Like my story now is, like I told you before this, I was at a child's birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese, and there's just me standing there like this with the robots singing and dancing.
So I guess that's a good point. The medium of how we share content has changed as well. From, like, okay, we post something on our wall. And now it's, things that are fast, whether it was Snapchat stories, Instagram stories. So how do I kind of get over this, like, okay, you know what, I have to overthink every single time I want to post something? I'm still trying to work my way through that.
I think we all are, because this is not really necessarily something people used to think about. And, we're in an age where everything's online and people are born their whole lives being online sometimes. And we do have to consider how our perception of ourselves and other people's perception of us informs what is really there. Do we care about having followers and likes and whatever? I used to really care about followers, but I've really stopped caring. But like, it depends on what your goals are. If you're an influencer, absolutely, you should curate what you're doing. You know, if your income depends on those likes and views and follows or whatever. But for a lot of people, that's not how we make our money. That's just something we do as a pastime, or, you know, not even a pastime, something we do
Right,
like when we're
right.
just bored, and then we scroll and scroll and scroll and wonder, hey, why am I sad?
I think you said the key word there, influencer, which
Yeah.
is where everything has kind of started to gravitate towards, where, you know, people kind of see, and the level of transparency in the influencer world, where people are posting and then they're saying, hey, this is how much I made selling this microphone off of Amazon.
Sure.
And then next thing you know, everyone's trying to go down that route where it's like, okay, if I post something, it needs to be curated like this. It needs to have this objective.
I think you need to post what's true to you, though, and not just follow a trend, because inevitably, if you're just a follower of the trend, you're not going to get as much windfall as whoever started it.
But I want to get rich off of TikTok.
I actually have a friend who has 3 million TikTok
Okay,
followers,
okay.
and that is what he does for his life.
Yeah.
But he works really hard, and he does, you know, he'll get up in the morning and make 6 TikToks, fire them off, edit them,
Right.
put them out throughout the day. That is hard work. It does
Yes.
take time. It's not this fastidious glamour
Just going
thing,
to post it. Right.
vanity thing. It's his livelihood.
Do you know if he has his own personal account to kind of show his, you know,
Oh, like a
to
private friends
separate the
account?
two? Yeah.
I think he views it purely as a job.
Okay.
And then a lot of his job is his personality. So we get into this idea of authenticity, which is a word that is thrown around a lot especially when we look at social media and social media marketing.
Right.
And is this your genuine self, or is this just the self you put out there to attract people, followers, audience? And I've met people that have gone both ways. I mean, my friend is genuinely a kind person, a fun person, a
Right.
friendly person inside and out. But I've definitely met influencers who were very different off of their persona.
And not even the fact that, you know, the influencer exists on just Instagram or just TikTok anymore. It's, you know, streaming or, you know, even all these like Amazon storefronts. There's so many things that if I just post online and if I continue to post online and stay so consistent with this, then I will get back some type of revenue or some type of, you know, something that comes back to me.
Sure.
Whereas before we would share something for fun.
Look at how we posted in 2012, let's say, versus now.
Yeah.
It's almost sweet and nostalgic. You know, when you look at celebrities' old photos and they're like, it's just me and my pizza. And it's like, now
Some
they would never do
selfies.
that.
Yep. Nope.
And
now it
there's
has to be.
so many filters. It's grainy. What a time 2012 was.
It's been weird as I've gotten older. I think my confidence has gone up, but my willingness to post has gone down. Whereas before, you know, I wish I was 23 and just posting all these clips and doing this and doing that, but I lacked kind of like the confidence, and I felt like I was annoying people. Oh, this isn't my personality. This
Most
isn't
people
who I am.
online don't worry about annoying
Exactly.
people. I'm just saying.
And so personally, I have a podcast separate from this, but it is not nearly as finely produced as this. And
you
I'm
don't
trying
have a giant neon light?
Nope.
Whoa.
Sometimes there's no light. It's just me in the dark. And I'm trying to kind of get it off the ground. And I know the only way to do that is, you know, posting continuously, similar to how you mentioned your friend. He wakes up and treats it like a full-time job. And I like creating the content. But as soon as it comes time to actually post clips or post something on my story, I feel this kind of weight where it's like, do people even want this? You know, like, am I just annoying people? But I also know on the other side of that, it's like, you have to annoy people if you want this to kind of get off the ground, because you're not aiming the content to be towards these, you know, 12 followers like it used to be, right? I know my follower count's low, but now it's like with this age of discovery and how your piece of content could just shoot out to 1 million people just like that. You have to keep posting. So I think that's like one fold of me. The second one is like when I'm at events, whether it's like a birthday party, a night out, anything like that. And I see other people on their phone and I'm like, do I need to post something on my story? Like, and that's the piece that I really hate. And I've been getting better at it. And even after the night when people are like, oh, hey, you know, you need to tag me in this story. It's like, why? Well, I don't want to, you know? So that's kind of one place that I've put my, you know, foot down where I'm like, I'm going to kind of manage this how I want to. But I've definitely felt this idea of fatigue of being online.
It's almost like a full-time job, though, because there are people where it is their job to be the marketing manager, the social media manager, to, you know, let's ideate content, hashtag content, and put that out there. And then when you're just one person, you think, this is overwhelming. What do I do? How can I keep up? I can't do 3, 4 videos right now.
And it's how people now keep up with you, right? They don't even say like, "Hey Kim, what did you do last weekend?" They don't call you, they don't text you. They just
I prefer they don't call
they just
me,
want to
but-
make sure that they saw it on your story, and they're like, "Oh, okay, she went to a birthday party. Oh, she made chicken pot pie."
I didn't do that.
That's the piece of kind of connection that I miss, where it's like people know what you're up to, how you're doing. They have this perception of it through your social media posting, and not necessarily just talking to you.
I mean, they can also hop into my Twitch channel and be like, "What's up?" when I'm streaming. Which is that?
Is it
that
really?
them talking to me,
Oh.
or is that
A safe medium.
or is that social media? Is that hashtag marketing there?
I did have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you have a Finsta?
No, I don't.
Okay. Do you see why some people do?
Yes.
Okay.
Usually, it's to keep other people out.
Quick note on Finsta. A Finsta is the combination of a fake Instagram. And I think people normally create these to kind of have their own separate personality. So if I'm posting things about going out at night, this and that, it's all hidden from family.
It's not
Now,
public, that's for sure.
sometimes I think Will Smith's profile is a Finsta.
Really?
Where I'm like, is this you? Like, who is this person posting all this stuff?
You're asking if a celebrity Oscar winner is posting all that stuff? I'm going to answer no.
I
He
think
has a
is.
person.
I think they get bored.
Okay, I think maybe 1/3 of the time it's him,
Okay.
and the rest of the time it's curated by a professional.
So you think it's just someone in the background? just
Absolutely.
posting
I've
it?
met people who do this for their job.
I need to get one of those. And then there's also what I don't really I'm not too familiar with, a Rinsta, which is a real Instagram.
That's what we're hearing. Streets are saying.
I don't know anyone that has that.
I just hope my parents never find my social media.
Even still?
I am sure they found it. I may have blocked some family members. I
Same.
don't
Don't
wanna
worry.
talk
Same.
about it.
It's gotten really awkward at some family functions where it's like, oh, you
Or
haven't
someone
added
comes
me?
up to me and it's like, "Why aren't you my friend?"
Right.
And it's like, I don't want to be your friend.
Do you think some of that was just kind of us being like a little bit paranoid? Where it's like, oh, they're going to think this and they're going to think
I
this.
mean, I think I'm paranoid for a reason because
Okay.
I've definitely gotten blowback from people who are,
Right.
let's say haters in my real life. I just want to live and I'm here for who I'm here for. And I don't need someone to tell me, "Oh, I didn't like that thing you said." And it's just like, cool, then don't look.
That's tough though. To draw that line.
I've been not nice recently.
Getting better.
It's like, why wasn't I invited to your wedding? And it's like, why haven't you talked to me in 5 years?
Why did you tell me to install that ad blocker?
Yeah.
Yeah. On the topic of authenticity, do you feel like people kind of put forward this almost like a inauthentic front to make sure they're pushing whatever product, whatever item that they're want you to buy, and they're not actually giving you their honest opinion of what
Absolutely.
they think?
Every TikTok shop, I would
Okay.
argue, does that. When you're selling something, oftentimes you have to hype it up. You have to maybe bend the truth. It's really hard for me to do this. I tried to take a sales job once in college. I just couldn't do it because I felt so bad about lying.
Yeah. I love that you mentioned the TikTok shop because sometimes I'll just be scrolling and then I see something and it's like, oh, I need to get that. I want that. And then the mere fact that I see that someone's TikTok shop is linked to that TikTok makes me think it's not genuine.
It isn't.
So I've completely lost trust in, anything that someone might be selling. Even friends that have, Amazon storefronts. I'm like, do you actually care about this product? I only trust a product now if I go into someone's house and I say, oh, okay, you're using a wooden cutting board. That's the only way now that I actually trust things that I see online. You mentioned to me earlier before the show that you've had opportunities to host certain shows, or could you kind of elaborate on that?
Opportunities to host.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll get a job listing or an email. It'll be like, come host. Or I've gotten a LinkedIn message even that's like, we think your experience is great to host. And then it's like, to sell our plastic garbage on TikTok. And I'm like, no, I'm not that person. I can't do it. I would feel so guilty. I mentioned this earlier, but sometimes when you're scrolling something, you're scrolling on your feed, you can just start to feel really down and sad. And it's like, because these people are posting generally a very curated view of their lives. You're seeing the greatest hits, the best highlights that they have, and you're comparing it to your everyday. And not everybody's everyday is glamorous or productive or beautiful. And then you just feel bad. It's designed to make you feel a little bad about yourself. And you know why sometimes? To sell things. Let's bring it back around.
But like even more so kind of on the thread of what you were talking about is, and what we've mentioned before is like people are posting the big moments, all the happy moments.
Or that when they look the best,
Right.
or, you know, when they're doing the most high profile things, but we aren't always doing that. You know, there are some times where you're just standing in the grocery store being boring, and that's unfortunately, you know, you can't compare those two.
Yeah. Have you found yourself kind of like what you mentioned is when you're scrolling and you feel maybe a little bit down and because you're seeing all these highlights. Wow,
Like
this person was
everyone's
so
getting
productive.
ahead.
Right.
Everyone's so good looking.
So whenever you kind of find yourself in that, let's say, hole, how do you kind of get yourself out?
I close the window and I put my phone in my pocket.
Yes. Yes. You made it sound so simple, but I think personally I've kind of done the same.
I mean, there's this old saying, comparison is the thief of joy, and you can't help but compare. So you have to take, in my opinion, a step back. Overall, do you feel that your perception of yourself versus who you are online are ultimately different? Is it an ongoing problem?
I think I'm getting better at it. And I think, you know, I've started to slowly combine the two identities. So then family, friends, coworkers are all seeing me as the same identity. What about yourself?
I feel at this point I have to accept who I am, and people in my life also need to accept that. And if they don't, then that's okay. That's their choice, and I need to be okay with that too.
So for the audience, let us know in the comments, do you portray yourself authentically online, or do you maybe have a Finstagram yourself?
Well, I mean, or do you even have anxiety around that of which one is the true me? It's an ongoing question.
Yes.
But in the meantime, subscribe to the channel and download Firefox because you know it's the best. We'll see you next time.